Hello, every pony, bronies and Pegasisters of all ages. I am the Nate Damn Z. Welcome once again to Like a Ditzy Do, a video blog about the My Little Pony collectible card game. Now, I'm really sorry about missing January's video. I just really had a lot of stuff going on, what with coming back from the holidays, getting used to my normal routine again. But on top of that, I had computer trouble and social commitments, and just a lot of things were, making trouble for me, so I made the decision to skip. I'm not proud of myself, but I'm going to do my best to stay on task from now on. Though, as you may have noticed from my oh so subtle name drop, it did give me an idea for a subject for this month's episode. In this video, I want to talk about troublemakers. Troublemakers really fascinate me from a design perspective. They represent some of the most iconic characters and creatures from the game, like Nightmare Moon and Paris Sprites and the Flim Flam Brothers. But how do you represent these characters in-game? After all, making them friend cards really doesn't make any sense, but making cards that would slow your opponent down does. Especially when you consider the game is about solving problems. But then, do you reward the opponent for getting rid of the obstacle? And that's where my real fascination with troublemakers comes from. They are pretty much the embodiment of risk versus reward, at the very least in this context. Yeah, they can slow your opponent down and deal, for lack of a better term, damage to them, but then your opponent usually gets points for defeating them and taking them out of the picture. Example from way back, Timberwolves. These guys are almost a triple-edged sword. This card is devastating if you can play one early game, when it can still be tricky to even get the 2 power you need to solve the most basic starting problems. However, once it's taken out, your opponent gets 3 points. Plus, they cost you not only the action token to play, but 2 more once flipped. Like I said, this card is most effective in the early game, so you could be giving up your entire turn just to get it into play. Another good example from Premiere would be the yellow Paris Sprite. I remember when this game came out, I was watching people play on YouTube trying to figure out how the game worked, and the people I ended up watching, they were constantly going on about how yellow Paris Sprite was going to be eroded because it was just way too good. And I can speak from play experience that yellow Paris Sprite can be pretty nasty. The last time I got to play, I had 2 out pretty early, which meant the friend I was playing against literally had no hand at several points. But once he took them out, that was 2 points for him. But from what I can gather, most players don't seem to mind the risk of giving their opponent extra points, especially when it comes to epic troublemakers and villains. I'll be honest with you guys, the risk-reward thing is pretty much exactly the reason why I don't use villains. Well, that and the fact that they're usually the rarest and most expensive cards in any given set. But mostly, I'm just not willing to risk the chance that my opponent will defeat my villain before I get the chance to. There's also the issue of trying to get the villain's effect to be less harmful to you than your opponent. I don't doubt that these are non-issues for just about every pony else, otherwise villain farming wouldn't be a thing. But that still doesn't change the fact that I am not willing to pay $120 for a playset of Queen Chrysalis. Though I will say there are some non-villain troublemakers that are totally worth the point risk. The Nightmare Moon from Celestial Solstice lets you search your deck for an Alicorn friend and put it into play once she has been defeated. Considering how powerful Alicorn friends can be, I'm willing to give the guy an extra point for that. And Diamond Dog gives you 2 action tokens once he's defeated. More action tokens is always a good thing. Of course, the whole risk is completely and easily avoidable if you disagree and don't want to take it. Troublemakers are easily the least important / most optional cards in the game. In fact, I have several decks without any troublemakers, and they seem to function just fine. Though, in those cases, that's mostly because I was running out of space and didn't want to give up any events or resources. But on the other hoof, I do have a couple of decks where Troublemakers are a key part of the strategy. Such as my deck for Rainbow Dash Flyer Extraordinaire. She actually requires Troublemakers to flip. I believe I currently have 9 in that deck. And it used to be that was a lot of potential bonus points. But then Absolute Discard happened, and now we can have all the fun of Troublemakers with none of the mess. Absolute Discord gave us the option of several Troublemakers that offer literally 0 bonus points for defeating them. And the best part of that is they can still mess with your opponent and or do something cool for you. Like Applejack Liar, who goes away as soon as she's flipped, but gives you an action token. Or non-villain Starlight Glimmer, who basically gives you a free move on your opponent's turn. Or Cerebus, Tartarus Guard, who not only can flip your opponent's Troublemaker back, but is still powerful enough to be a decent hindrance early in the game. Or possibly my new favorite, Rover, who lets you put a flipped card into your hand. One of the most frustrating things ever is when you're in a face-off and you flip that really spiffy ultra rare that costs you your 2 left hooves to get, and then you have to put it on the bottom of your deck. I guess what it all boils down to is that making trouble in this game can be a lot of fun. You just need to be aware that there are consequences. There's almost a science to it, you know? Or not. Like I said, Troublemakers that give 0 bonus points now. I'm trying really hard not to go back and redo all of my Troublemaker-less decks. So what about you fine folks? Love and or hate Troublemakers? Have you given up on classics like the Parasprites and now only use Rover and the Twittermites? Do you use villains to denounce the evils of truth and love? In any case, please leave me your comments and questions and whatnot. I'm always happy to continue My Little Pony CCG discussions. Please, no one else will talk to me about it. If you'll excuse me, I have to finish working at the details for this contest I want to hold during the month of March. This is the Nate Dam Z, blasting off again!
Rock is rockin', talking trouble, poking trouble.